My ACL surgery depends on whether the Toronto Raptors are playing a home game, and that's the least weird thing to happen to me in the last 5 years. This is Apex Mountain Resort in British Columbia, and I spent the last 5 winters of my life here. 3 of them training full-time as an athlete and 2 of them as a coach. This is my last season, and I want to tell you the full story starting from the beginning. I started skiing when I was 3 years old. My parents put me in the Nancy Green program, and it's basically like ski school for little kids, and you fall a lot. I was quite good at it, so I started ski racing. And if you're from Ontario, you know the hills. Let's say they're quite modest. Skiing in Ontario is basically training, because there's nothing else to do really. Go left, go right around the gates every day for years, and I was quite good at it. I mean, I won a bunch of medals, and I genuinely loved it, but I did start to get a little bit bored. Every day after training, I'd sneak over to the train park because Louis had an actual good park back then, and I would just experiment, try stuff. And one day I just went for it. I taught myself how to do a 360, and then I taught myself how to do a front flip as well. Nobody showed me how, I just pointed it and I tried, and that was it. I was hooked. That's when I found mogul skiing, which is when you ski down a field of bumps, do 2 jumps, do tricks, and try not to die. I did my first 2 mogul competitions in Ontario, and I knew immediately that that was what I wanted to do. That was the 2019-2020 season, and I was 15 years old, and then March 2020 happened. COVID shut everything down, and for many people it was a disaster. But for me, it was kind of perfect timing. School went online, which meant I could be anywhere and still go to class. So that summer I flew out to Whistler to meet my new coach, Christy, and I did a water ramp camp out there. And then in the fall of 2020, my dad and I loaded up our skis with everything else in the car, and we drove across Canada to get to Apex. It took us a couple days, and I was 16 at the time. I had never lived away from home for longer than a couple weeks, and I was moving to a ski resort in the middle of British Columbia to ski moguls full time. In grade 11, it was easy. Everything was online because of COVID anyway. But in grade 12, school started to go back in person. I had this conversation with my teachers and my principal. I was honest with them. I told them, hey, I gotta be in BC training all winter. I'm gonna have my Chromebook with me. I'll be online, but I'm gonna do all the work. And to my surprise, and I'm still amazed to this day, they actually said, yeah, it's okay. That winter, I had over 30 days missed in my attendance record. I was basically a ghost at school. However, I was still able to graduate with an above 90 average. Those 3 winters, grade 11, grade 12, and the year after, were phenomenal. I got to ski my first Canada Cup, my first Canadian Nationals. I got to ski my first NORAMs. NORAMs are the competition level just below World Cups, where all the best skiers in North America compete at. It was awesome. I mean, what more could you want? After grade 12, I got into the University of British Columbia in Kelowna, and I was like, how hard could it be to do both? Train full time, compete, and go to school. It was actually really hard. In November of that first semester, the team had a preseason training camp, and we went overseas to Sweden, Idrefjall. So I'm doing a full day of skiing. I'm on the hill for 6 hours. I get back, I go to the gym for a workout, and then after that, I come back, I eat something, and I get to studying on my laptop. And I remember I was sitting there one night thinking, when the actual season starts, because this was just the preseason, I will be training 5 days a week. I'll be going to competitions almost every other week, and I'll have to manage in-person university as well as get ready for 5 exams. There was no version of that where school wouldn't fall apart. So I talked to my parents and I told them that I have to focus solely on skiing. That was a hard conversation, but they got it. And the next 1.5 years, I just competed. That was the whole job. Become the best mogul skier I could be. I competed at NORAMs. I traveled across North America. I even had a preseason training camp the following year in Hintertux, Austria, which is on a glacier, which is really cool. I made a bunch of friends with people that I'm still really close with, and I learned more in that 1.5 years than I had my entire life. February 2024, Val-Saint-Côme, Quebec, a NORAM. It had been a warm day, soft, slushy snow, but overnight it froze, and the next day it became basically an ice field. I drew a strong American competitor in my first duel, and I knew I had to push it. I actually don't remember that day. Not the warm-up, not the course inspection, not even my name being called. What I do know is this: I lost control coming into the second jump. I slipped and I hit my head off the back of the jump, knocking myself unconscious. I still went off the jump, even though I was unconscious, 20 feet in the air, and then I came crashing down. I was unconscious for 15 minutes. I took an ambulance to the hospital, and then a week later I woke up in my bed at home, genuinely confused about how I got there. I suffered a severe concussion and a small brain bleed, but I fully recovered with no lasting symptoms, which makes me really lucky. My mom keeps telling me that an angel was out there watching out for me that day. And after that crash, I made a decision. Mogul skiing is an extreme sport. The jumps are big, the speeds are high, and the consequences of mistakes are very real. And I wasn't willing to risk my head again, so I stepped back from competing. But I wasn't ready to leave freestyle skiing yet, not even close. I spent years doing coaching courses to better understand myself as an athlete, so transitioning into being a coach wasn't that hard. And that next season, I became a coach. First, I coached water ramp, and that season I went to Hintertux with the team as well, this time as a coach, not as an athlete. And then the ACL. We're at a camp in Red Deer, Alberta at Canyon Ski Resort, and I got into the bumps. I told myself I was just gonna ski them, nothing crazy at all. I saw the jump at the bottom and something clicked. Tunnel vision and 2 bumps before the jump, I decided I was gonna go for it. I went for a backflip, I landed a little bit back seat, and when I hit that first bump, my knee hyper flexed with a little bit of a twist, and I felt the pop. The MRI report was 4 pages long. ACL functionally torn, PCL partial, MCL partial, meniscus partial, bone bruising, and a bunch of microfractures. I was on crutches for 2 weeks. My left leg atrophied, quad, glutes, hamstring, calf. But somehow I was lucky enough to get back on skis and finish the coaching season. A few remaining ACL fibers were just enough to keep that stability in my knee. That summer I went to Mount Hood in Oregon to coach a glacier camp with the team. And then the 2025-26 ski season started at Apex. I was back with the same junior team, watching them take everything they've learned and push further. More competitions, more travel, more moments of watching a kid land something they've been working on for months. And the Raptors now. My ACL surgery is scheduled for April 20th. However, my surgeon is the orthopedic surgeon for the Toronto Raptors. And it just so happens that the Raptors made the playoffs. So if they're playing a home game, then the surgeon is in Toronto and the surgery is on. But if they're playing an away game, then it gets rescheduled. I don't find out until April 15th, which is 5 days before the surgery. And that is the most ridiculous paragraph I've said in my entire life, I think. Yet, here we are. Well, that's kind of the perfect metaphor for the last 5 years. Nothing went to plan, not one thing. I didn't plan on leaving racing. I didn't plan on driving 4,500 kilometers to the other side of the country. I didn't plan on taking a year and a half off of university. I didn't plan on a brain bleed. I didn't plan on blowing my knee coaching. And I definitely didn't plan on having my ACL surgery contingent on the Raptors playoff schedule. But here's the thing, every single one of these unplanned moments led to somewhere better. Getting bored of racing led to moguls. COVID led to Apex. Leaving school led to the best year of competing in my life. Getting hurt competing led to coaching. And coaching gave me a relationship with these kids that I'll never forget. I haven't told the kids on the team yet that this is my last season. And I have 4 more days to ski with them before I have to drive back to Ontario. 2 of them are already making plans for next ski season with me in mind. And it's gonna be a hard conversation with them. After surgery, assuming that the Raptors cooperate, I wanna go ski Japan for a season. That's the dream. Or maybe the Alps, or maybe something different I haven't thought of yet. But I do need a working ACL first. If you want to follow what happens next, the surgery, the recovery, hopefully a ski season in Japan, make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be documenting all of it. And I want to ask you something. If you've ever had to walk away from something you've loved, a sport, a job, a chapter of your life, drop it in the comments because I genuinely want to read them. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.